Have you ever wondered about the giants mentioned in the Bible? What if there's a hidden text that tells the story of their origins? A story involving fallen angels and creatures of immense power. Join me as we explore the Book of Enoch, a text that could rewrite your understanding of ancient history. Before the flood and the rise of nations, the heavens watched the earth below in silence. Among the multitude of angelic beings in the celestial realm, there were two kinds: those who stood in unwavering service to the light, and those whose gaze lingered too long upon the world of mortals beneath. These beings were the Watchers, a group of 200 angels appointed to observe humankind, to document their growth, their trials, and their triumphs. But observation was not sufficient for these Watchers. Led by a mighty figure named Semyaza, they found themselves captivated by human women. Their desire burned hotter than any fire known in the stars, consuming them with an obsession that sparked rebellion. Thus, they conspired to descend to Earth, not as guides nor protectors, but as conquerors intent on claiming the object of their fascination. Semyaza feared the wrath of heaven, knowing their transgression could not go unnoticed. Yet, driven by a resolve stronger than fear, the angels formed a pact. If one fell, all would fall. United in their resolution, they descended onto a peak of Mount Hermon, a holy mountain that would soon transform into an epicenter of great corruption. Once on Earth, they took human wives, revealing secrets stolen from the vaults of the stars: how to craft deadly weapons, how to manipulate the elements of nature, how to harness celestial power unknown to mortal minds. These human women bore children, but these were no ordinary offspring. They were giants, Nephilim, creatures of immense size and unyielding hunger, embodying an insatiable appetite for domination. These titanic beings consumed the earth's produce until it was scarce. Then their voracious cravings turned them against the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and ultimately, humankind itself. The Nephilim rose as tyrants among men, worshipped as gods by humans who mistook their sheer power and towering forms for divinity. Rivers of blood marked their reign, with the earth itself crying out under their unsustainable weight. Yet, heaven had not forgotten the plight of the earth. Enoch, a righteous man who walked with God in integrity and truth, began receiving haunting visions, foreshadowings of doom, of fiery judgment, and cleansing retribution. Crucial in this awakening was the archangel Uriel, who unveiled to Enoch the immutable truth of impending wrath. The sins of the Watchers are irredeemable. The Nephilim have tainted the earth, and the Creator shall cleanse it with flood and flame. Uriel entrusted Enoch with a perilous mission: to deliver the decree of judgment to the Watchers themselves. As Enoch ascended to hold counsel with these fallen angels, the heavens stirred with divine resolve, a decision cemented in celestial decree. The flood would come, relentless in its purpose. However, not all angels agreed with this verdict. Among dissenters was Azazel, a being who had imparted to humanity the arts of war, vanity, and destruction. Azazel believed he could outmaneuver divine judgment, that his teachings of chaos and strife would endure beyond the purging waters. As Enoch approached the clandestine domain of the Watchers, they toppled to their knees, not in worship or repentance, but in stark terror. They pleaded with Enoch to intercede, to advocate before the divine throne on their behalf, desperate to escape their fate. Yet, judgment had already commenced, with the cries of the earth haunting the celestial realm. The story concludes in silent contemplation, with the recognition that the waves of correction would be unleashed, reforming a world burdened by ambition and hubris. Enoch returned from his encounter with the Watchers, carrying their desperate pleas for mercy. But when he presented their request before the Creator, the answer was clear and absolute. judgment has been sealed. The earth must be cleansed. The angels who remained loyal in heaven were given orders. The archangels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel, were each given a role in the great purge to come. These celestial beings, radiant and steadfast, had watched over humanity since its inception and now were instruments of divine justice. Raphael was commanded to bind Azazel hand and foot, cast him into a deep pit in the desert, and cover him with jagged stones. There Azazel would remain, imprisoned in darkness and isolation, contemplating the chaos he had sown until the final day of judgment. Michael, the leader of the heavenly hosts, prepared himself for the task of rounding up the Watchers, those fallen beings who dared to defy the divine decree and mingle with humanity, bringing forbidden knowledge to weak hands. Gabriel was tasked to destroy the Nephilim, the offspring of Watchers and human women, creatures who stood as giants among men, both in stature and in wickedness. Gabriel's role was to incite war among them, sowing discord that would turn brother against brother until they were consumed by their own violence and brought themselves to ruin. As the great flood began to form in the heavens, Enoch watched with sorrow. The earth trembled under the weight of divine retribution, its voice an echo of the Creator's immutable will. The skies darkened, a canopy of despair, and rain, unlike anything seen before, began to fall with relentless fury. The Nephilim, once arrogant and worshipped, now howled in terror. Their cries pierced the shuddering air as they fought each other with a furious madness enkindled by Gabriel's influence. The earth shook as their titanic forms clashed. Entire cities built by their hands crumbled under the weight of their betrayal. Semyaza and the Watchers were bound by Michael and cast into the valleys of the earth, deep within chains of fire and stone, where they would await the great day of judgment, a day fixed in the unfathomable calendar of the heavens. Down they went, those who once traversed the skies, now tethered to the dark entrails of the world they had corrupted. Meanwhile, Azazel's corrupt teachings, makeup, weapons, enchantments, forbidden knowledge, began to vanish with the flood. The waters, rising inexorably, swallowed everything. Mankind reeled under the deluge's might, leaving only what was pure and untainted. Only one man and his family were chosen to survive: Noah, the great-grandson of Enoch. He was pure, untouched by the Nephilim's bloodline, a vessel of hope to keep the ember of humanity alive, chosen to restart the lineage of man after the cleansing. But before Enoch vanished from the earth, the heavens took him. He was transformed, never tasting death. In some stories, he became the angel Metatron, the scribe of God, elevated to a post of unimaginable honor, the one who would forever bear witness to both the sins and the glories of man, his pen etching the histories of creation with divine ink. Though the flood wiped away the Nephilim and buried the Watchers beneath the earth, remnants of that ancient world persist. Some say the shadows of their deeds still linger. Whispers of ancient giants, mysterious ruins, and forbidden knowledge still echo in forgotten corners of the world. The fabric of time holds these tremors, and those who listen carefully might yet hear of titanic quarrels and the echoes of divine instruction. And hidden in dusty scrolls and banned gospels lies the secret that heaven once warred with itself, not for power, but to protect mankind from beings that were never meant to exist. A testament that in creation's vast expanse, even among the divine, choices bear consequences, resonating through every corner of existence.